Introduce our players. In the lower left hand corner of the map, it is from Team Startail, our orange Zerg player. It's Pet. Down the map here, and we'll see if he can pull this one back. As in the upper right hand corner is going to be our red Terran player from Invasion Esports. It's GuMiho. GuMiho. Again, guys, hello, how is everybody doing? Hope you're all enjoying the stream so far now that we've finally got our games rolling here. I hope you guys are ready for some great games of StarCraft. If you didn't watch last week, we had some pretty great matches. Impact, Alive, Jachi and Patience went up against each other in the group. And there's some great matches there. If you missed that, head on over to our website, SC2improve.net, and you'll be able to find a list of spoiler-free VODs. If you just go on to kind of the recap of the first week of the competition. So again, guys, how is everyone doing here today? Thank you for tuning in. Do let us know who you're supporting, as we do have a hatchery first coming up for Pet, and a gas, and then a pool. So going for this gas fairly quickly here once again. We'll see what he can try and get done. There's this Pet just mining away here. And yeah, for some reason my chat keeps breaking, so we did have a couple of cheers during that last game. Spritzboy, I can't read it because my laptop's so far away. Spritzboitel saying go Pet. As Pock was cheering on GuMiho. So again, guys, do let us know who you're cheering on here. As GuMiho popping his command sign down on the low ground. First Reaper coming across the map. Did scout with an SCV, so he has been able to see this early gas. And we'll know that Zergling speed is going to be coming up fairly quickly here. Already about 20 seconds into their production on that. As this first Reaper getting turned away by a couple of Zerglings. And that will now head back across the map. And, well, okay, not quite back across the map, but he'll just kind of pull back, go in again and keep trying to trade hit points here. The Queen coming out is going to help this out a lot. And with the Queen out now, you should be able to turn this away a little bit more easily. And this time it was just that single Reaper, so going into some Marine production now, going to be able to put that factory onto the reactor. I imagine this time around, I'd be surprised if he didn't put it onto it this time. Yeah, it was a little bit weird last game. He kept the factory off the reactor for a while, and I wonder if that was something to do with how Pet decided to, I wonder if that had an effect on how Pet, decided to respond. He said, "You're not reactoring out Hellions. Well, if you're not going to react out Hellions, I'm going to try and bust you, because Hellions are kind of the best thing, against a bust, because against a Ling Bane bust, because if you've got lots of Hellions, once the Banes are gone, you can kite all day with good control." So kind of interesting. Speed about to finish here. There's only a few Zerglings out on the map, 4 in total. And, with speed, they can just move around a little bit, try and see what's up, and don't expect them to do too much. And it looks as though Pet just taking a third base, just wants the speed to be able to turn away any early aggression from his opponent, which, again, it did come out in that last game. And first two Hellions are now out here. And where's that Reaper gone? Over here. So this Reaper's actually coming into the scout on the third base, wants to try and see what's happening and what's going on. So this so GuMiho pops in here and sees this third hatchery just over halfway done, and knows that is knows what's going on now. And these 4 Hellions going to come across the map and try and see what is happening. They're going to take this left-hand watchtower for just a moment there before continuing their assault across the map here. A couple of Evo chambers on the way down, as the first Banelings are, the Baneling nest is on the way too. Hellions do make their way into towards the mineral line here. 3 workers killed so far, up to 4 now, but this is 4 Hellions, and 4 Hellions is worth about, you probably want them to look at kind of 8 to 10 workers for those Hellions. And losing them is not brilliant. This Reaper's going to go down now as well. For only 5 workers, it's not too great, because, you're throwing away 400 minerals of resources for 250 minerals of drones, which is okay, but then you lose a lot of your map control, and that's a big factor. And, he is following up with a Banshee, he is following up with more Hellions, and what we could possibly expect to be mech, especially as he takes these extra gases. So in that case, it's not so bad to lose them initial Hellions, because you're going to keep making more anyways. But if he was going to try and play bio from this, then losing them initial Hellions is a lot worse, because you're only going to want to make 6 to 8 Hellions in total, because you want to use that reactor to start making Marines on. You want to use your factory to make another reactor. So then you don't have much map control, because if you lose 4, then you've only got 2 to 4 Hellions left, and they're nowhere near as effective as 6 to 8. First Banshee comes in here, and Pet is well prepared. Spore Crawlers up in each of these mineral lines. And he will just move around with this Banshee, try and see what he can get done. Raven on the way here, and that's going to be a nice little investment from GuMiho. Clear up some creep as the game goes on, and just in general be fairly useful. Another nicely positioned Spore Crawler here. We'll actually turn this Banshee away, and not a single piece of damage done by this Banshee. And we'll just turn back now. Melee upgrades on the way for Pet, as we do see double armory on the way for GuMiho. So he's not wasting any time at all in going towards his own upgrades and making sure he's all ready. He's pretty much all ready. So, so yeah, these Hellions are going to start moving across the map. So again, because he's playing mech, he's just going to continuously produce Hellions. So losing them first 4 is not that big of a deal. Again, he's already got more map control out here. And just gonna move around with these Hellions and see what he can get done. A couple of creep tuners on the bottom of this ramp right now, and Pet just starting to spread his creep across the map, nice and easily. GuMiho taking the watchtower with his marine, and starting to fly out an orbital command center as well towards his third base. So just getting all nicely set up here. Lair on the way for Pet, and I mean, he's not really being able to identify that this is mech just yet. I mean, he probably can. He's seen the Raven. He probably has a pretty good idea about what's going on. He sees the engineering bay now coming up in the wall, and I mean, he sees no marines or anything, so you can probably make a pretty good guess that this is mech. He's going into a spire and an infestation pit simultaneously. As these Hellions are going to come down the right hand side and see if they can get anything done moving towards the third base. Now there's only really Zerglings out right now. There are about to be 1-1 Zerglings, but only Zerglings nonetheless. And I mean, as Hellbats, they're going to make a pretty good, pretty short work of this fourth base. A couple of Queens coming in here. I mean, off of creep, these Queens are pretty slow, and they're not going to be able to save this and cancel at the last moment there. Now these Queens, I mean, in a little bit of trouble because these Hellions, well, the Hellbats will actually speed them off of creep, and Banelins coming in here, and the first couple of Banelins are, okay, they cleared up the first line of Hellbats. I don't think he's really got enough to actually engage onto these just yet, though, and I don't think he's going to get a single Hellbat there. Okay, oh no, he doesn't. He doesn't grab a single one, so going to lose a couple more drones now, and Pet in a little bit of trouble trying to deal with this. This Queen will pick off one of those at least. So, you know, trading off for something there in the end. He has got a gold base on the way, so kind of realizing, you know, he's playing against mech, and another drone cry make a hatchery, but that's okay. Just going to turn around in time. Queen will target down this low health Hellbat, and so I'll take that down. But now we'll possibly lose this Queen to these Hellbats. So Pet, again, losing his Queens, doesn't really want to be losing these, as Cloak Banshee's going to come in towards the natural. After losing a couple of Queens, you know, these Cloak Banshees have a little bit more freedom, and need to be careful. One of them already on fairly low hit points, and they will get turned away quite quick. But 5 drones killed in total here, as Pet, with now the double expansion coming down, so going straight up to 5 bases, wants as much gas as he can get. Goes into missile attack upgrades, carapace upgrades also. Vikings on the way here for GuMiho, and they kill off that first overlord, as well as the 4 being out. Means that these first 8 Mutalisks, which are currently on the way for Pet, about to start popping out right now, are probably not going to be able to do all too much damage. They're going to start moving across the map here very shortly, so let's keep an eye and see, you know, what exactly can they do. But again, not expecting very much, because, you know, with the Vikings out, the 4 as well, it's quite hard to imagine them being able to really achieve all too much here. Hellions going to come around this right side, and they're going to come up now and try and see what's happening, as these leaders gonna try and clean this up, and they will eventually get it, but not before 5 workers have gone down. So just sacrificing workers for sacrificing Hellions for workers right now. His first Viking does go down here. There's that Raven, there's that 4 as well, and 1 Mulus does go down. A couple of 4s here, and 3 Vikings in total. And this is a very aggressive push coming out of our Terran player, running into these Hellbats with the Zerglings. They just get absolutely decimated. All of the Mutas getting kind of killed off very quickly as well. PTD soaking a lot of their Muta shots, and Pet in a lot of trouble right now on this gold base. He's starting to make a Roach Hydra army, and that would work out really nicely for him. Because that, you know, actually, you know, any amount of Roach Hydra right now would clean this up without too much of an issue. And he is going to start moving forward now, and again, he just needs these Hydras behind at the same time. He needs to sort of wait for them. He needs that extra bit of DPS. And as GuMiho continuing to advance forwards here, smells that thinks he can do a little bit more damage than he's already done. And not going to go too far into the creep, though, realizing it's getting to that point where reinforcements are going to start coming out. And Rush Speed about to kick in, and as he's going to turn around, and GuMiho are actually going to try and fight this, and with these Hellions going to try and come around the back, get some shots off onto the Hellions, onto the Hydralisks, sorry. And some SCVs being pulled for the repairs. Now so many Vikings in the sky. They're not going to do too much else here. Although that being said, a couple of Vipers on the way out. So I mean, they're going to be able to zone out the Vipers quite nicely. As Pet will hold on for now. Surprised to see him not going to Swarm Hosts. Going to try and battle this with just Roach Hydra Viper. But I mean, again, as time goes on, Roach Hydra Viper kind of loses its potency. So considering he's already on the defensive and already trying to be just, trying to just hang on in the game, kind of a little bit worried for Pet. He doesn't have a composition which is built for kind of, holding on efficiently and then counter-attacking. He's got a composition which is kind of meant to be attacking, doing damage, and just outswarming your opponent. So as this army comes in, is Pet going to be able to hold on? Vikings are landed to add to the DPS here. Pet going to have to cancel this gold base once again and spend their minerals elsewhere. More roaches, more hydras on the way. We do have a couple of Vipers. And again, with these Vikings landing, they do have a little bit of an opportunity to try and get in there, get some blinding clouds down, or a couple of abducts, whichever he feels is, whichever he feels is more useful in this scenario. Moving over to the left side, and with this Raven, he'll be able to clean up this creep without any scans at all. And a couple of tanks going to begin sieging up here. And Pet not going to attack into this too quickly, so just falling back here. And, well, he's going to come into this once again, and these tanks are not sieged up. Hydra's in the back starting to fight these Hellions, and well, a couple of blind clouds come down. Really nice blind clouds, taking out a lot of the 4 DPS, and a lot of this is starting to go down. These Vikings which remain will start getting shot off by the Hydralisks, and well, the Banshees are going to start cleaning up the Hydras as well, though. So Petty cleans that up quite nicely, and a little bit of an overcommitment then by GuMiho. He just had a little bit too much out on the map with too much at home. And, Pet took a great engagement. He fought when the tanks were in siege. He dropped them blinding clouds, took out them the 4's DPS as well as one of the siege tanks in the back. And Pet holds on here with a gold base about to start coming up. I mean, GuMiho's got his own gold base up, so I mean, in terms of economy, GuMiho is sorted for in the next, 5-10 minutes at least before he even needs to think about taking this upper left base. So GuMiho's in a great position right now, clearing out his rocks to get between his bases a little bit more easily. Pet continuing to expand, taking this left base now, knowing it's going to be very important for him to just kind of mine faster than GuMiho, because he's probably going to be playing the less efficient composition, considering he's not playing Swarm Hosts. He probably knows that, so he knows he will know that. So knowing that, he's going to try and just say, well, I need to mine as much as I can, and just trade with, trade more to kill less, but get enough of an advantage from because I've mined more. To be able to remax a bit, etc. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm not phrasing it very well. Alright, so these Hellions are coming down this left-hand side, and they do pass by this hatchery. And Roach Hydra here will come in, and these Hellions are going to take a little bit of damage as they run in towards this mineral line. And, well, these Hellions getting a little bit surrounded, but 10 drones, 12 drones for only 4 Hellions, and a few more there right at the end. 4 more, 16 drones in total. And Pet drops all of a sudden straight down to 58 workers. He's making a second Spire, and I'm not too sure about the second Spire because, I mean, with so many Vikings already out, I can't really imagine Broodlords being such a great. Well, I mean, I guess what you may very well be doing is preparing to go into double flyer upgrades in case GuMiho starts building battle cruisers or something like that, because then he definitely would need to have a good air army to go against that. So that could very well be his thinking here. When you see double spy, you immediately start to think, well, what's he going for? Broodlords or something? But Broodlords is going to be definitely almost out of the question this game with so many Vikings already up. A few SCVs being sent across the map, being traded. He has GuMiho has a bunch of orbital commands on the way, and he's just going to keep increasing his army size. The less SCVs that he has, the larger his army can be, and of course as the game goes on, the less SCVs he needs because you can just replace them with mules. Taking down a couple of changelings here to be able to take this tower control and this base. Very pushable by GuMiho, and he's only been a little bit of gas mined here, only 200 gas or so, not even that, as this base will now go down, and Pet just not in a position to deal with this at all. Adding on some spine crawlers and a spore crawler also, not sure where that static defense is. Just on one of his bases perhaps. Yeah, it's over at this gold base. Pet's actually going to come in and try and engage this right now, and let's see if he can make this happen. Over to the left hand side are the tanks, and they're the only tanks which are sieged up. A couple of landing clouds come up to the top side, and Pet is starting to push through this, but I mean, I just don't think he's quite got enough. He'll take down a couple of extra 4s to the top, but the tank's fire is just way too much. The siege tanks just do so much DPS, and I mean, if he'd maybe landed the blinding clouds over to the left side where them tanks will actually siege, this could have looked very, very different. GuMiho now going to, after winning that fight, just immediately move across the map. 25 Mutalisks on the way. Okay, well, Pet, he's just going to try and win this by catching his opponent off guard with a bit of a Mutalisk Remax. And hoping his opponent just doesn't quite have enough anti-air. But with more Vikings and more Ravens being made, I'm not sure how well this is really going to turn out. And GuMiho immediately here is going to see these Mutalisks popping out. As he sees them Mutalisks, if he did see them, he should lift them Vikings up. And there they go, back into the sky. So his anti-air is looking strong here. And Pet loses his gold base once again. GuMiho continuing to push forwards. And these Banshees will take down the Smoker, will take down these Spines. And GuMiho continue to push onwards onto this creep. And here we go, the big wave of Mutalisks. He's going to spread out as best he can. And here we go. Is it going to be enough coming right on top of the army? PTTs go down to try and parry a little bit of time. As I believe Falls and stuff are kind of dying underneath here. But I think it's mostly the Mutalisks which are going down. The Vikings are just a little bit too good. And with repairs coming down as well, it's going to be GG from Pet. And GuMiho will take our first series here today. 2 games to 0. No real issues there. And he moves through now into our winners match. And Pet will drop down to that losers match, which means we will have Myungsik versus Hydra as our next series.